Cora. Is Cora still here? There she is. We got a hug before it's all said and done. Amen. This has been tremendous. And just to see the young ones that are coming up and even the older ones that said, you know what? It's not too late for me. I'm going to that's tremendous. So, wow, I'm just amazed. And just a little bit of my story. My grandfather, he told my brothers and I that, you're going to start taking organ lessons. And so, he's one of those parents who doesn't ask you what you want to do. He says you're going to do this, and you go ahead and do it. And so when he told us organ lessons, the first thing to my mind was, man, it's got the upper level and the lower level and the pedals. How am I going to do that? I mean, I was a little afraid, actually, and was thinking piano would be the way to go. But from those first few lessons, they made organ so simple. And I think that's the mark of a good teacher, who can take complex things and make them so basic and simple. And so it made organ fun. And it was one of those things that I didn't have to be forced to do. I didn't have to be told to practice. It was a hunger in me to do it. And so I just went and did it. And we had a piano in our living room, and I would go and play that piano every day and keep track of the songs that I would learn. And I'd go tell my grandparents that now I know 26 songs. They were all the same chords, but nonetheless, they were excited. And I would entertain some of their friends who would come over. And it was every single Monday. We lived in Inkster, and every Monday we would drive to the east side. That's one of the schools on the east side of Detroit. And as a kid, that was the longest ride ever. And I couldn't wait to leave to go home and eat. But those lessons were just a tremendous time for me. And so I began to experience growth rather quickly. Now, I didn't have a measure of what was good for my age or how I should be after so many years of playing. I just went to lessons, practiced, and played. And that same year, I started when I was 10 years old, taking lessons. That's good. You taught me and my mother. That's something. So at 10 years old, I began playing for the children's choir at my church. And before I knew it, playing for the children's choir and then playing at other churches. And there would be moments where really I was terrified to play. I was confident in the stuff that I knew, but the stuff I didn't know, terrified. It'd be Sunday morning, and I'll never forget we were playing Your Grace and Mercy, Mississippi Bass. And I froze in the middle of the song. So, like some of you today, yeah? With the same experience, I was right there. And I froze, and they're looking at me like, are you okay? And I'm like, no. But it was great. But I learned that it's in the struggle that you really get better.
That's right.
And you have to be at a place that you're not afraid to launch out, that you're not afraid to be embarrassed, because anything worth doing well is worth doing it bad. All right, so don't feel bad when you're in that place and you're like, this isn't coming easy to me like I thought. Anything worth accomplishing, you're going to have some struggle. You're going to have that time where it seems rough, but that's how you grow. You don't grow through practicing all the stuff you already know. You sit down and you play something that makes you feel good. And I tell my students that I teach, I tell them that spend the bulk of your time, spend half of your time learning the new song, and spend another quarter of your time learning your technique and things of that nature, and then spend the last quarter playing whatever you want, right? So the bulk of your time practicing should be on the stuff that's going to stretch you, the stuff that you're playing, you're like, I don't sound too great right there. But that's the stuff that's going to cause you to grow. And so playing at church, I began to experience more growth. And then as I got to college, took more lessons. So I enrolled in jazz piano lessons and began to stretch and grow and be around other people who could play better than me. And here's what I realized, is that, you've heard so many people today, so many people, organ, piano, drums, and there are people at different skill levels. But don't be intimidated by that. Welcome that, because that's how you're going to stretch. That's how you're going to become better. And it's not a thing of, I play better than that person, or they play better than me, I should quit playing. No. Enjoy everyone at their level.
That's right.
And as you get around this type of scenario where everyone's playing and you hear people that are playing and they're flourishing, that should encourage you and inspire you to practice a little more. So that's kind of my experience playing, and these quick points that I want to give to you, things that have helped me along my journey, and then I think I should play something on the organ. Yeah. So a few things that have helped me. Well, first, you know, my grandfather in Ray Daniels' House of Music, that's, man, I tell people even now, I mean, I've been playing over 20 years now, and I tell people, man, Ray Daniels' House of Music, man, you need to go. If I can't take a student, I tell them, hey, you need to go over there, you know, Ray, Glenn, all the guys. And then my grandfather, he would push me. And, you know, different services, I would be playing for his church. He would allow me to play. And he did something that I don't think many people would do. As his grandson, he put me on payroll at the church. Now, I don't know too many pastors who would say, I'm going to pay my own child to play at the church. But let me tell you, it encouraged me. It really did. And he even allowed me for a season to go play at other churches. And so taking all of that experience that I learned at other places, bringing it back to my church, being a minister of music at my church, and it's so refreshing to be a musician at the same church you're a member of. I wouldn't trade that for the world. So I'm thankful for what he instilled in me. So the first obvious thing is to practice. You got to practice. There is no shortcut to practicing. That's right. Just tell somebody you got to do it. You just got to do it. All right, and you got to practice the stuff that's going to stretch you. The next thing is consistency. You can't just have a 4-hour day one day and then don't practice for 2 weeks, because you'll be right back at the same spot that you were at, right? So that's amazing to hear the student from Toledo who's just only been playing for a few months or a year or so, and that's great work ethic. And I would encourage you to practice. Now, you may not have 3 or 4 hours, but if you take some consistent time daily, take some consistent time, take 30 minutes, take 45 minutes, an hour, that's 2 TV shows. Take Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy and say, I'm going to practice. And if you do that consistently, you're going to see growth over time. All right, so practice, consistency. 3, struggle, kind of talked about that. Don't fear sounding bad. Don't fear being embarrassed. Because when you launch out into those settings, like playing on a Sunday morning or playing for a choir, and it seems challenging and hard, that's going to be the stuff that grows you. Because after a while, you're going to get sick of being embarrassed. And it's going to make you want to practice and be better. All right? Never stop learning. So don't get to the place where, oh, I sound good, and people are telling me that I sound great, that you stop practicing. Because what you'll notice is that there'll be other people who catch up with you and then surpass you, and you're like, wait a minute, what happened here? So always be in a place that you're growing, always be in a place that you're continuously learning. Another thing that you should do, and this is the last thing, is evaluate yourself. Evaluate yourself. Back in the day when we were taking lessons, I'd have my tape recorder. And Mr. Daniels would say, bring a tape recorder. You advanced now, you just bring a tape recorder. I don't know if he still tells you to bring a tape recorder, but probably, yeah, okay, so he still tells you. But listen, these cell phones now, I mean, you got record functions, you got video functions. That's right. Record yourself and then listen back, because that which cannot be evaluated cannot be improved. So if you can't measure where you are, you won't know how to get better. So I encourage you to listen to yourself, and yeah, it's going to be difficult to hear yourself. It's going to be difficult to hear a message and say, oh my goodness, I can't believe I sound like that. But that's going to allow you to hear those things that you should tweak and improve for next time. So those are just a few of the things that I want to give to you. And so I'm going to go to the organ and play some music. So I'm just going to play some snippets of a few songs.